Greetings from Newark Northgate, where we're here to get the LNER train, courtesy of discounted tickets from Jake. Thank you very much for sorting those, to go and visit London for the day. I've had a few requests in previous videos to go and visit the capital city, so we're going to go there today, see how much we can see in the space of just one day, and also try and catch a show whilst we're there. Hope you enjoy. So here we are in London, outside the London King's Cross railway station, the station where the famous Hogwarts Express whisked Harry Potter off to Hogwarts. And we're going to get onto the underground and head to Covent Garden. We booked tickets to go and see Matilda, the musical, this afternoon, and that starts at 2 o'clock. It's now 10 to 1. So we're just going to get the underground to Covent Garden and check into the theatre. We're here at Covent Garden. This is the old famous Covent Garden market. I mean, despite my little bit of a short shake of the head whilst we were on the tube, yeah, it's uncomfortable, yeah, it's loud, but it is very convenient. All you do is you tap on with Google Pay. So, a little bit about Covent Garden. This was actually way back when an actual garden for Westminster Abbey. Then it became famous for its flower show, something going on down there. And now it is this bustling hub of theatres and restaurants and shops like you see today.
Okay, everyone together. 3, 2, 1, run! Nobody died! Oh my god! Not even Joe, man! Congratulations, Joe. Thank you, Andy. Well done. And now back to the one and only, the unforgettable Paul Zillingdon.
It's just some guy going about on a massive unicycle. To be fair, it's pretty impressive. I couldn't do it. I'm not on that sort of balance, but still, that's what was going on there. Plenty of people crowding to watch all of these sort of street performers here in Covent Garden. See that the apple market here in Covent Garden is decorated with all of the Christmas stuff. We are in December whilst we're here, and we can see lots of Christmassy things and lots of nice independent decorations here and designs. Whilst in Covent Garden, it might be worth checking out the London Transport Museum. I'm obviously pushed for time at the moment because we've got that theatre reservation in about half an hour, but still, we might come back later if we've got time to check that one out. But it is literally just next door to the markets. For the viewers across the pond, you'll have heard all about the British pub, and there are a fair few of them here on Bow Street in London, and we'll probably check into one of them and have a drink. So we got a pint of Camden Hells, which is obviously brewed in London. It's quite a nice lager. Cheers. But what I will say, it cost £7.85, which is a lot more than it costs at home. £7.85 is about $9 for a pint of beer. Expensive. London is really expensive. But either way, cheers. Marquis of Anglesey pub was quite nice, nice atmosphere. Seemed to have a good menu as well, but unfortunately we didn't have a chance to stop and have something to eat. The beer, on the other hand, I've had it before. to be honest. It's not a great lager, I would say. It's too weak and too gassy. So, just a word to the wise. If you visit London, or indeed stops in a lot of pubs in the UK, don't bother with Camden Hells, because it's not so good. But that was absolutely the very definition of what my friend Ben would call a Swiftie. So we've left the pub and now we're on the way to the Cambridge Theatre to watch Matilda. It's only a 5 minute or so walk. I'm just trying to make sure I don't walk into anyone. So we'll see you at the theatre. I'm immediately enthused as I walk onto Endell Street, because there you've got a typical London building, and look at this. It looks brutalist and it almost looks like it could be in a former Soviet country. I like that kind of architecture. It makes me happy. Look at that. A nice little Soviet-style building on Endell Street in London, compared to a typical London building there. So here we have some reviews to Matilda at the Cambridge Theatre. Fantastic, ingenious, exhilarating. This is one I'm really looking forward to, amid cries from across the road to me of school children screaming 6, 7, because apparently that's funny nowadays. I'm not really sure I understand it, but apparently it's funny. We're here to watch, obviously, Matilda, and the music is by Tim Minchin. I absolutely adore Tim Minchin. I have watched the film, I've never seen the stage show. I had the choice of this one or Wicked, and I thought, I've seen Wicked, I've never seen this, so let's go and watch Matilda here at the Cambridge Theatre in Covent Garden. So here we have the theatre. I'm inside, with the stage is set to start the show in a few moments' time. This theatre was opened in 1930. It's traditional Art Deco style, which you can sort of kind of see in this moment, but obviously the stage lighting's hindering that a little bit. In the 1950s, Audrey Hepburn visited here, and there is a photograph of her sunbathing on the roof here. I don't know how much sunbathing you could do in London, but nonetheless, that photo is there. It is also rumoured, although I don't know how true the rumour is, to be haunted. Maybe I can find some more things about that out as we go along here at the Cambridge Theatre. I stand here on a very windy Westminster Bridge over the River Thames to offer you one of the most famous sights of London. Here it is. The Houses of Parliament and the Elizabeth Tower. Interestingly, it's actually the bell at the top of it that is called Big Ben. The whole tower is called the Elizabeth Tower. There are over 1,000 rooms in the Houses of Parliament, and it bears some resemblance to the Houses of Parliament in Budapest that we saw some time ago. In fact, those Houses of Parliament were modelled on this great building. Interesting fact about the Houses of Parliament, it is actually illegal to enter the building wearing armour. British Parliament is of course split into two main parts. The House of the Commons, which is where the Prime Minister, currently Keir Starmer, and the government, including the opposition, they sit there with the green seats. At time of recording, it's not so long since Rachel Reeves delivered the latest budget, which is the state of finances in the United Kingdom. Alongside this, you have the House of Lords, which is the red seat. People who are either inherited peers, that means people that have entered the House of Lords as a result of family connections or have been made peer by the government, sit in there. A law in the United Kingdom has to go through the Commons first, and then through the Lords, and then the King himself has to give it his personal sign-off. All that takes place in these buildings to my left, overshadowed by the iconic Elizabeth Tower. Opposite the entrance to the Houses of Parliament sits Parliament Square, which is a lovely green space in the centre of London, looked upon by a number of great leaders of this country throughout history. I stand next to the statue of Winston Churchill, Britain's wartime Prime Minister, and it is an absolutely stunning view from where I'm stood. You can see the Elizabeth Tower in all its glory and the Houses of Parliament there. Also, just in the background, that shiny building there that looks like a top of a Christmas tree is the Shard, which is the tallest building in London. The iconic and historic Westminster Abbey, situated once again just next to the Houses of Parliament. This magnificent Christian church has stood here for 1,000 years, and it is the official coronation church, has been since 1066. A number of royal occasions happened here, including the coronation of King Charles II and many monarchs before him, alongside royal weddings. The most recent high-profile one was that of Prince William and now Princess Kate. Prince William first in line to the throne. So many momentous occasions happen in this church. So just a couple of other things before I leave the area of the Houses of Parliament. In 1605 there was what's known as the Gunpowder Plots. British viewers you'll know, non-British viewers you might not know, where this Parliament building there was a plot to blow it up by a chap called Guy Fawkes, and we remember this every year on November the 5th by setting off fireworks as a remembrance that we are still a great democracy. Further to this, I asked ChatGPT in December 2025, 18 months after the last general election, I asked it, who is the current UK Prime Minister? And ChatGPT said to me, Rishi Sunak, who has not been Prime Minister since July 2024. So definitely a plus point for ChatGPT there. I realised I didn't quite give enough of a snippet to this incredibly famous part of London, the London Eye, otherwise known as the Millennium Wheel, which was erected in 2000 to commemorate the new millennium, and it's where much of the famous New Year's fireworks display occurs in London, here at the London Eye. I'm walking up Whitehall now towards the next point of interest, and this here is the Cenotaph, which is the war memorial for primarily those who fought for this country in the Great War and the Second World War. This is where the remembrance service is held in London every year with all sorts of dignitaries, including the Prime Minister and the King. And this happens all on Whitehall, which is this area here full of government offices of all sorts, including civil service. A lot of it's situated here. Whitehall is a real main hub for a lot of it. It's quite a nice view around, actually. I mean, even as you walk down, you look to your right, you'd have the banks of the River Thames, and you can even see the London Eye there. Coming up a little bit further, there is this heavily guarded street, very famous street in London, which is called Downing Street. And Downing Street, next to that little Christmas tree through those iron gates, is the official residence of the Prime Minister. So number 10 down there, Keir Starmer, spends most of his time. Number 11, the Chancellor of the Exchequer, has her official residence next door. All of this just off Whitehall, as you can see there. At the end of Whitehall, we will get to another interesting point, which is Trafalgar Square. But you can really see as we waltz down this street a number of different war memorials here in Whitehall. So from one end of Whitehall, where you have the Houses of Parliament, to the other end where you have Trafalgar Square, this iconic vista features Lord Nelson's column with a tiny figure of Admiral Horatio Nelson atop it. He was a Navy officer a very long time ago. I think it was the 18th century, something like that, maybe 19th. My history is not so good. And he was killed in the Battle of Trafalgar, but he fought in the Napoleonic Wars and was victorious in many battles. One of Britain's greatest army leaders, and he has this commemorative column here at Trafalgar Square, named after, of course, the Battle of Trafalgar. Behind me is the currently being renovated Admiralty Arch, which is the gateway, if you like, to one of the most famous streets in Britain, and that of the Mall. That's very famous red paved road leading to none other than Buckingham Palace. So on my left now I've got St James's Park, which of course is that very famous part that Buckingham Palace overlooks. You'll see it all the time on telly, anytime there's a royal occasion. The Mall today is draped with two distinctly different flags. The Union flag, which I've just walked past, and another one which I'm about to walk past, as you can just see there, the German flag. Britain and Germany, of course, have a great relationship these days, although that wasn't always true, of course. thinking about those the times of the First and the Second World War. But either way, it's a beautiful stroll down the Mall as we head towards Buckingham Palace. So we've come now to the end of the Mall, and it was a bit of a longer walk than I remember it being. So, at the end of the Mall is, of course, the famous Buckingham Palace. Let's have a look. Here it is. Buckingham Palace was designed by King George IV from the House of Hanover, and in front of it you've got this statue here, which is a statue of Queen Victoria, one of the most famous monarchs of the United Kingdom. She was also Empress of India at the heights of the British Empire. Buckingham Palace is, of course, one of the official residences of His Majesty King Charles III. Buckingham Palace has got 3 parks in the close-ish vicinity. There is St James's Park, which we mentioned earlier, there's Green Park, and of course there's the biggest, Hyde Park, which I'm just sort of arriving at now. They've got their Winter Wonderland going on at the moment, so there's a couple of fairground rides, which, you know, I don't really fancy going on because I might fetch up my dinner. But Hyde Park's the place I visited last time I came to London, which was 2023. I came to watch Billy Joel at British Summertime. What a show that was. Absolutely outstanding. Brilliant musician, great fun. You can hear a lot of these horns going off, which is typical of London. So many people, so many places to be. Wandering through Knightsbridge, which is historically exceedingly posh. Still bags of litter on the floor though. Still can't have everything, can you, London? The famous Harrods department store, originally owned by Mohammed Al Fayed, who was major shareholder of Fulham Football Club. Let's go and check it out inside. I mean, I won't buy anything, it'll be far too expensive, but here we are at Harrods. Crikey, it smells like an explosion at a perfume factory in there. Very, very strong. It doesn't smell unpleasant, you know, but all of the stuff in there is all luxury items and what have you, and yeah, some of it's very, very nice. But a bit much. Yeah, some of it is just actually not very nice, and you're charging 4-figure sums for bags and hats that, let's be honest, they don't look very good. I mean, I wouldn't wear them, but look at my fashion. I'm wearing a cap. It's interesting to think that the Underground, which I'm now just currently leaving another one of those tube trains, was originally ran on steam trains. So you can imagine all of the smoke and soot in those tunnels. It must have been unbearable. Behind me is the absolutely massive St Paul's Cathedral. Opened in 1708, and its famous design was by Sir Christopher Wren. It has one of the largest domes of any cathedral in the world, and it bears somewhat a resemblance to St Stephen's Basilica that we saw in Budapest. This cathedral has been host to many, many events and great services, and also funerals. In fact, former British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher had her funeral at St Paul's Cathedral. The original St Paul's was destroyed in the Great Fire of London, and this is its rebuilt version. Unfortunately, we couldn't go and take a look, as there is a performance of Handel's Messiah going on at this moment. So on the final stop of my London in a day, we are here in Camden, and Camden Market's the last things I'm going to come and see today before heading home back up to Newark. And Camden, first impressions, look at all this independent stuff. There's a lot of independent shops going on here. I'm just really having a look around. I can see just an absolute shed load of t-shirts, lots of Christmassy stuff going on, and Camden is where actually the band Madness are from. Plenty of really famous artists have played here in days gone by, and it is really well known for the independent stuff. So let's have a look at some independent stuff here in Camden.
the famed Camden locks down there as well, traditional locks on the river for the barges to reach the lower levels of the waterways. So to be honest, I have to say, and I have to say this in fairly hushed tones, Camden I've not been overly impressed with at all. Yeah, the markets are quite famous, but all the markets are just really, really tourist rubbish that you just don't want, to be perfectly honest. Also, there's been quite a strong smell of a certain, shall we say, Class B drug, which has not been the most pleasant thing in the world. So, in all honesty, my friends, give Camden a miss. Don't bother with it. Waste of time. So this brings London to a close. There was disruption on the railways earlier, meaning that I can't get my actual train as it's been cancelled. And Jake did organise me a first class ticket, but again, I can't use it because the train's cancelled. So we'll jump on this one. Hopefully it will take us back to Newark tonight. And I will give you an inkling of what London's like when I'm actually in Newark. So I'll see you on the other side. It's worth noting that my train cancellation back to Newark was a result of a fatality on the railway. So please do not trespass on the railway. It is illegal and can land you with a very hefty fine. If you get hit by a train at 125 miles an hour, you don't stand a chance, to be honest. So please be safe around railways. That's me back now in Newark. I'm a little bit chilly, hence the shaky camera work at this time. And now for my honest reflection on London. You'll have noticed as I was walking along, my eyes were just sort of darting all over the place, everywhere. And that's because London is so busy. There's so many people there. And, you know, I always try my best to be nice about a place when I go there, try and talk about all the positives I can. And I hope I've done that with London. But in all honesty, London, for me, is too busy. There's a lot there, yeah, don't get me wrong, but when you've seen it once, I don't think you need to see it again. So try it out, by all means. You need a day, maybe two, depends on how fast you want to go. But in all honesty, London, it's not for me. I realise I've not touched on the musical, though. The musical was absolutely excellent. I couldn't get any footage of that for obvious reasons, but genuinely fantastic show. Absolutely fantastic. So in conclusion, London, it's a no from me. Don't forget, if you've enjoyed the video, to like, share, leave a comment, and even subscribe. That'll be kind of you. I don't anticipate doing anything before Christmas now, so let me take this opportunity to wish you a very, very happy Christmas and a very happy New Year. Take care. See you soon.